Perfect. So I want to thank everybody so much for being here today. This is a great joy of mine to be able to start this organization and this community for everybody. The mission here is to empower others through the leverage of knowledge in order to become the best version of ourselves, personally and professionally. So for those of you that are new, welcome to Breakthrough Mastermind Group. This is a group of individuals. We are not intending to promote our business. We are really looking to gain leverage and advance knowledge for one another. We've got a lot of brilliant minds on here today. I'm super excited to have you all. Just to give you a background, the 8 lifestyle categories is what we're basing the premise of this entire mastermind group of. And today's topic is money. So I know we've got a lot of CPAs, a lot of beautiful minds on here with money backgrounds. I would love to hear from all of you. So again, for those of you that are new, the way that this will work, it's quite simple. We will give our speaker today, who is Dylan Del Rosso, we will give him the floor. Because of the amount of people that we have on here, if you do have questions, I would ask that you please write them down, and we will just limit it to 1 to 2 questions per person. We're going to give him the floor. We'll let him talk a little bit about what he's got to share with us today, and then we'll be able to ask questions. Like I said, I know we have a lot of financial minds in here, so would definitely love to hear some of your thoughts and feedback. I know what Dylan's going to share is super exciting. Before I really give him the floor and introduce him properly, I'm just curious. I know I've spoken to some of you about this, but just to raise a hands, how many people in here have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yeah, yes. I know Celia, Joe. Awesome. Tanisha, a lot of people. That's a great book. Khrushchev, awesome. So I just want to do a very brief, quick reference on there to really introduce the topic for money today. Is he's got a section there where he talks about you can think of this journey with money as a river. And at some point when you're on this river, it's going to split. And one route is going to lead towards poverty and misery. The other route is going to lead to the financial riches. The beautiful thing is, you're in this boat, you've got your oar, you can choose which direction you go. And as all of us have experienced, sometimes you're on one side, sometimes you're on the other. Oftentimes as a coach, I hear most people say that they're limited on resources. This is your resource right here. These are the people that are going to get you that knowledge, that information. Choose your path. Which side are you going to be on? So I just wanted to kind of paint that picture and really open it up. So I want to introduce Dylan. Guys, Dylan is a phenomenal individual. He just recently bought his first house, which is really exciting. He is what I would consider somebody as a super connector. He is connected all over the place. He's got some beautiful connections, brilliant mind. He's got his hand in a lot of different businesses. I mean, this guy is just a wealth of knowledge, phenomenal resource. I've had the absolute privilege of meeting him in our In This Together roundtable networking group, which some of us here have all met from that platform. And through that process, Dylan and I have actually become really close friends, and I'm super grateful for his friendship. He is going to be talking about one of his businesses today and just giving us a little bit of information on a gap that is in the market when we talk about money. So again, guys, please welcome Dylan. And Dylan, I'm going to give you the floor.
Awesome. Well, Coach Keeg, thanks for the kind words. You are the man, but everybody here already knows that. Thank you for the intro. So yeah, Keegan and I are newer friends, but you know, relationships develop quickly when they're genuine, and you know, we hit that off pretty quickly. So a quick background on me quickly, and then I'll tell you guys a bit more about what I'm here to talk to you guys about as far as money and my startup called PeakBot. But just a little background quickly. I grew up an athlete. I was a baseball player primarily. I had the opportunity to go play college baseball in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. at a very small school called Misericordia University that you've never heard of. And if you have, message me directly. I studied sport management there, graduated back in 2016, got right into sports sales, first at the NCAA level, working with the University of Maryland, doing ticket sales to consumers, selling all their football tickets, basketball tickets, you name it. Did that for a couple of years. 2019, I joined the New York Jets as a manager of premium partnerships, selling their luxury suites, B2B, to the New York Metro. That was a dream job. I grew up a Jets fan. I don't know if we have any Jets fans or haters in the room, but that's okay either way. And then did that for a year and a half. Pandemic hit. Quickly turned into an entrepreneur because there were no more suites to sell for the Jets. So I became a connector. I went on LinkedIn and just met everybody and so many fantastic people, a number of them in this room right now, and became the connector. And I love it. And so my full-time job is a VP of sales at a full-service advertising and PR agency in New Jersey. However, I do a lot of connecting for them outside of that, and also am a co-founder at a fintech startup by the name of PeakBot. So PeakBot, I wanted to, I'm not here to pitch PeakBot. I want to be very clear about that. And I also want to be very clear with, I am not the finance guy. My two partners are definitely the finance guys. I'm the sales guy and the one with the relationships and the partnerships. And in fact, Keegan, what I wanted to do is kind of share more of a story and have a conversation about how I came into this opportunity and see if it's relatable for everybody else. And so if it sounds at any point I'm pitching this business, I'm really just kind of telling you what I have going on here. And I think it's just, as Keegan referred to really well, it's a massive gap in the market. So co-founded this business with my younger brother, Dalton Del Rosso, and my one of my good friends from home in New Jersey, Ben Colabella. Ben currently works with PricewaterhouseCoopers. He manages their artificial intelligence. My brother's a recent finance grad and has been making way more money in the stock market than any 23-year-old needs. So I put him to work. And so we have essentially automated the stock trading process for the retail investor, AKA everyday people like, you know, everybody here on this phone call. So what I wanted to do is kind of tell you guys how this all happened. When I worked in the NFL, finally was making some good money in sports. And I had a little bit of money to invest, but I had no idea how to invest money as a 25-year-old kid out of college who went right into work. You know, like I didn't know really the slightest thing about investing, but I knew I had to get it out of my savings account and do a little bit more than what it was doing. However, you know, as a 25-year-old with, you know, maybe 10 to 15 grand that I would like to invest somewhere with something, I was having a hard time getting the attention of, you know, whether it be these asset management companies or, you know, specific financial advisors. You know, I'm a risk, you know, I'm a young kid with the first big paycheck. And, you know, so I was having trouble finding support. And so basically I went to my friends who knew what they were doing in the stock market and said, hey, this was last June. I said, listen, I finally have some money. I'd like to do something here. What do I do? And really my options were Robinhood and Stash, which I'm sure a lot of you on the call are probably familiar with or hate it or love it or somewhere in the middle. I happened to fall in the middle. It was my only option. It was free. It was accessible. I could throw $100 in there. I could fractional trade and just start to learn a little bit about the market and educate myself on really how to get active. And so that's where all my money was. That's where all my money is because I'm still building this business and I really don't know where else to put it. Because again, my options are kind of limited as far as going the traditional route, being so young and without too much access to some serious capital. So basically what happened was I went to my buddy who had been teaching himself how to code these stock trading bots for himself because, you know, he's a brilliant guy and he's a workaholic. So he taught himself how to do it on YouTube over a couple of years. And he came to me, he's like, listen, I'll help you organize your finances if you think you can sell a stock trading bot. I'm like, well, I have no idea what that means. What is that? And he goes, well, he explained it to me, and I asked him, I said, well, is anybody really doing this? Is this out there? Why couldn't I Google this and find a bot to do it for me? And it was just a massive gap in the market to have a bot to be able to buy and sell for you. So the goal here, what we've done is we have created algorithms. We have coded strategies that are buying and selling stock equities for you as an individual. So while, right now it's 10:15 here local on the East Coast, the market's open. My phone, since what we've done is we've partnered up with a trade station, a brokerage similar to TD Ameritrade or Robinhood or any of these other ones. And what we've done is we've partnered up with them and we're in their app store as a subscription. So for $5, $10, or $20 a month, that's not set yet. We're still in our soft launch and our beta, but we're basically giving access to these strategies to buy and sell for you. So my phone blows up, during the day, just buy, sell, buy, sell. Because I don't know who has the time to stare at a stock chart, all day. I certainly didn't. And I had even less interest in learning how it got done. So I just wanted something to do it for me, just like everything else. I started having this conversation with everybody like, it's 2020, it's 2021. I can go on Amazon and have a robot deliver me a package, in 24 hours, but I couldn't trade on a bot in the stock market when a majority of the stock market was traded on bots, right? Certainly these biggest, players in the space aren't having somebody press when to buy. It's an algorithm that's based on, at least what we're doing, it's based on conditional trading logic, right? If you watched a couple YouTube videos, you learn about the MACD and the volume and the RSI and the Bollinger Bands. We've basically taken this conditional logic and put it into a code that says, all right, we're looking for the ideal time to buy and we're looking for the ideal time to sell. So essentially, what this has kind of become is we're looking to take the next level, saving people time and money while eliminating fear and greed, right? So the concept is Sunday night, we will host a watch list live. We will host my two partners generating and vetting their watch list for the upcoming week. And so Sunday night, you can tune into that and say, all right, here's what they like. Here's some winners, here's some losers from the past and some research. And now Monday morning, you get an email with, hey, here's some suggestions. None of this is financial advice. Be very clear. It must be very clear with that. We're not financial advisors. But basically you can get this email and say, all right, well, based on my research and whatever the community has done here, I'd like to activate these bots on certain stock tickers. So like, for example, if somebody wanted to buy some Tesla stock, well, you can basically, Sunday night, Monday morning before the week starts, or really whenever, to activate the bot, right click and activate. So now you don't have to worry about missing it if you're in the Uber or on the top of a building or, doing some landscaping, whatever it is that the everyday person does, they don't have to worry about missing it, right? Robinhood may send you a notification saying, hey, Tesla's on the move, check it out. But everybody, I'm on a sales call. I'm doing the guest speaking with Coach Keeg. I missed it, so we're trying to be there for you. So that's really the concept. We're trying to automate that and basically give some more skin in the game to the non-investor. So we want to educate them on the technical side of trading while also doing it for them. So right now we're doing this through our partnership with TradeStation. And like I said, we're in a soft launch. We got some friends and family doing it, and it's going well. We're collecting a good amount of data. It's been an absolutely crazy journey for me because, again, I'm not the finance guy. I lean very heavily on my partners for that. But it's been a wild journey. And, even some asset management companies, these big businesses, banks, hedge fund, whatever it might be, they don't, it's kind of time now, right? If we were to ask the room, in 5 to 10 years, could you imagine, not having a bot like this to do it for you, right? It's kind of, the Band-Aid has been ripped off. Now is kind of the time. In fact, there's a couple other people doing this that are going to beat us to market. And their products don't suck either. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't know what they're doing. They do. I think they're probably going to charge way more than they need to for it, but we'll find out. And so this has just kind of been a crazy journey to try and give the non-investor some more access to investing while, you know, they might be living their normal life, working their 9 to 5. So it's crazy. It's happening. We're doing it. We'll see where it goes. But so far, it's been a fun journey. I'd like to obviously answer any questions. There's so much more that I can get into, but again, I don't want this to seem as if I'm pushing this on anybody, but I really would love to have a conversation as far as, you know, those who do invest, those who don't, reasons why they do, reasons why they don't. You know, so Coach Keegan, I just wanted to thank you for giving me the time to share that story. I'm open to conversations, and hopefully on a future call, we were supposed to have my partner, Ben Colabella, who could really talk you guys through a wall with finance. But unfortunately, he was not able to be here. I guess PwC is keeping him a little busy for now, but I really appreciate it and open to any questions and conversations.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you so much, Dylan. I know, like I said, we have a lot of financial minds on here. So guys, I'm just going to open the floor up. If you have questions for Dylan, please feel free to ask now.
And I'm going to put in the chat. Sure. Go ahead, Brandon. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. First and foremost, I wanted to give a plug to Mr. Dylan. If you haven't already connected with this amazing individual, I highly suggest you doing so, because he is not only is he a connector, but he's a very selfless person, and he's indeed that high caliber person that you really want to have in your network. So that's just, you know, first and foremost. Second of all, I have seen his Peak Bot or that. That sounds kind of weird, but I've seen the PeakBot technology. He has showed me on Zoom with a bunch of my friends who are also big into stocks, much like myself. And I can tell you that it's extremely seamless. No, I do not have equity in PeakBot, excuse me, for the third time, right? I can't speak. But
I might have to change the name. It seems to be giving you trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a great platform, and I just wanted to mention that, Dylan. So thanks a bunch.
Brandon, you're awesome. Just a giver in nature. Again, thanks so much. But yeah, appreciate it, man. It's been a wild journey even since we've last showed it to you. So we'll have to catch up.
Nice. Thanks.
If nobody else has questions, that's totally fine. It's kind of a wild conversation to be having as well. So sure, Marlene, what's up?
Good morning, Dylan. I wanted to ask you first, my first question is, because we're talking about money, what guideline did you use to determine the dollar amount and keeping yourself in a position to where you can at least earn your initial investment back? Because I get the feeling from, you know, just from what I see and hear and read, that sometimes people get a little out there. And so how did you rein yourself in and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do because I want my finances to be strong going forward?
Absolutely. Fantastic question, Marlene.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. So to answer kind of the first part of the question, like how we kind of determine the price. First, I think it's important to say, like, this is not a get rich quick play, right? A lot of these businesses that are out here now are saying, hey, get rich now. You know, you see the Wall Street bets and the power in numbers and what's able to get done there. You know, that's good and all, but it's, you know, that's more gambling in my opinion at that point. So what we're trying to do is when we determine the price, we were like, listen, we want to give this away essentially. The only reason we're charging anything is because we have to operate a business. But the people who developed it, my brother and my best friend, they're not developers. They're not coders. This wasn't their baby. Right? A lot of people who are developing algorithms like this and are actively selling them, and none of you really know about it because they're not marketed properly or at all for whatever reason. They're charging crazy amounts because, again, that's their prized possession. That's their job. That is their career, to develop these bots. So they feel, all right, well, I got to go sell this. We were like, we have this. We stumbled into it. We were using it for ourselves. And we joke, pardon my language here, that we were just the first 3 assholes who said, let's build a business about this and give it to everybody. Because we think there's a lot of people in their basement who figured out how to code these bots. They're just not telling anybody. They're just going and buying a house in Beverly Hills and riding off into the sunset. But again, so when we determined the price, we wanted this to be like a Netflix subscription, right? We wanted it to be, hey, we want to get you active in the market. What's important here to know about the pricing is these are all swing trades. I don't know if you know what swing trades means, but by definition, that means you're holding your position for more than one day. It's not an intraday trade. You're not buying in the morning and selling that day. We have bots that are going to be able to do that, but that doesn't really match our customer profile. That's people with big bucks. We're trying to just give access to those who weren't being served. And so we said, listen, let's do $5, $10, $20 a month. Let's just get them active and say, let's hold a position for anywhere from 2 days to 7, 10 days. You know, you are paying for this monthly, right? However, it's really, so we want to get you active. We want you guys to have trades, right? So if we can make you, you know, whatever it is that you want to make, whatever your goals are, if it was 0.5% a week, which people laugh at, but you know, it compounds, right? That adds up. I would take 0.5% a week every week for the rest of my life, and I would have nothing else to complain about. But we basically said, let's just get people in. We need people to know about that they can do this themselves. And it's like going into Shark Tank and them saying, well, this is going to take a lot of education. I want more because we're going to have to really educate the consumer here. That's what we're doing. Every time we have somebody sign up for this, you're getting 2 of the 3 partners on a phone call for 45 minutes, getting you set up with all the bumps and bruises of our partner in a brokerage, because it's just a pain to sign up for. And we're making sure that's seamless. And so, okay, you're done now, right? Like, let's just get you active in the market. And it's a set it and forget it mentality. And one of the really funny things, Marlene, is, you know, I have some family and friends who do really well for themselves and are successful entrepreneurs. They have no shortage of money, but you know what? They throw a couple grand in the peak bot and they see what happens. And, you know, it's something like relatable to, you know, how everything you cook tastes better because you cooked it.
Yes.
I have people with a lot of wealth who will message me at the end of the day and be like, my bot made $95 today. I wasn't even looking. I'm fired up. And I'm just like, I'm fired up about $95 in a day. This guy, you know, prints that in an hour, you know, just regularly, but he's so thrilled about it. And that's what we love. It's just like, yeah, you did it. You're the trader. You know, we gave you the tools. That's what this is. It's a tool. So we really wanted to capture everybody. So that's how we said, listen, let's keep this low. And one other thing, I'm so sorry. Important to note that we're not taking a single point, nor is TradeStation. No, everything you make is yours. Nobody's taking anything from you. All you're doing is you're paying for the subscription monthly, which is pennies on the dollar, right? So yeah, that's it's a giveaway, quite frankly. So we'll see where it goes.
Hey, Dylan, I know Matt had a question, a little bit of input. Great question, Marlene. I'm going to go ahead. Matt, can you hear us okay? I know you're jumping in and out a little bit.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, the audio goes in and out sometimes. But I can. Yeah. So Dylan, first of all, shout out to New Jersey. I call Montclair home. So love that. Love the Jets swag. So yeah. So I was at a similar point as you, and you know, when you were 25, like when you started your story, you said, you know, you had a little bit of cash, but not enough to be, you know, managed by an asset manager or something like that. And you're just trying to beat inflation, right? You're trying to keep your expenses low, right? And so I was at a similar point of like, I just need to set it and forget it, which kind of seems like the core message of PeakBot, right? And so the route that I decided to go with was just do like ETFs and stuff through like Vanguard or through whoever, right? Because it's like diversified. There's a little bit, you know, right? A low expense ratio. So what would you say the advantage is using a model like Peakbot? Is it higher returns, lower expenses, a little bit of both? So yeah, thanks for taking my question, man.
No, absolutely, Matt. I grew up a Rutgers fan, by the way. I was there when they beat Louisville in overtime and Ito kicked a field goal. I stormed the field. That was like one of my favorite memories of all time. And with the Jets logo, I was there when they rebranded to the new logo. So we showed up at 9 o'clock one morning, got an email, and they said, show up to the turf. And they gave away everything with the old logo on it. I have 17 of these shirts, exactly this shirt. So we'll get you one. To answer your question, basically the strategy is to get you active, right? It's let's just get you in the market. And right now, everybody wants to trade, right? They realize they suck at sports gambling and it's horrible odds and that they should just do it the right way and put some money in an account and get a couple percent, right? And ETFs, Matt, I use Stash. They have awesome ETFs. And it's the same thing. It's like, I know it can sit in there. I can make a couple percent on this at the end of the year. And it's reliable, you know? And so it's a great approach. Right now, ETFs for Peakbot doesn't really make sense. We're looking for volatile stocks, right? Because we're looking to buy low and sell high, obviously, right? So the methodology here is like, hey, let's get you in and out. We want you having multiple trades in a week, multiple trades in a month. Like, whereas other people may want to, you know, just find the huge run and, you know, wait and then they might screw it up. We're like, listen, let's get you that 5% or whatever that stock is really bouncing with. If it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 12, whatever it is, let's get you in and let's get you out and on to the next trade. We're not trying to stick in, you know, positions for very long. So it's really more about getting active, seeing what's hot. You know, they use a website called barchart.com. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's what it's called. And it shows you everything by industry. It's like, all right, well, the motor industry is kicking ass right now. So then you can go click in and see all the stocks. I know I'm getting totally off topic here, and partially it's because I forgot the second half of your question, and I'm kind of just, you know, ad-libbing here. However, the approach really is to just give the non-investor some skin in the game, right? I was not going to be trading unless I had Peakbot, you know, and whether it was Peakbot or anybody else doing the algorithmic trading. Guess what? 2 years from now, maybe it isn't Peakbot because I didn't run the business properly and I didn't convince enough of you that this was the right idea. But whoever it is who is doing the algorithmic trading, they'll have my business because I have no interest in learning about it because I don't have enough time, nor does anybody else here. So we just want to give the non-investor some skin in the game without having to worry about their lack of knowledge. Like we got you covered. And so I think it's important to also know that, like, we're not only in this to make gains, like of course we want to make some money and put some percentages in your pocket, but we're also in the stop loss game, right? Like, you know, we're probably coming up on a correction here in the next couple months. We're all going to be sitting in our office at 10 o'clock, and by 3, half our 401k might be just drained, and that's going to suck for all of us. But, you know, we can at least take a percentage of what we can control and say, all right, built into these bots are stop losses. But you have the ability to override these bots at any time, by the way. If you said, I don't like it, I want out, done. If you say, oh my God, I'm up 10%, but the bot hasn't sold yet because it thinks it's going to go up to 15, you can say, I want my 10, get me out. And, you know, you override it and you're out of there. For those of you who know me, they know that my thoughts don't stick around for very long. So, and I'm also rambling at this point. I hope that answers your question.
No, yeah, that was great. Yeah, we'll have to link up outside. Yeah, thank you for answering my question.
Absolutely. I hope I did.
Do you have any other questions for Dylan at this point?
If not, what I would just leave you guys with is, you know, anybody who does have questions or anybody who just wants to have the conversation or be a part of this process, we're being so open-ended and transparent. We want to build this for the people. So the only way we can do that is hearing from you guys. So if anybody wants to have the conversation, there's probably people on this call who know more about it than I do. So I'm also willing to have the conversation and learn from you all. So I appreciate all of your time. And Keegan, you're the man for setting this up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for speaking, Dylan. Just to turn the tide a little bit, I would really love to hear from Celia, Tanisha, or Devin, and specifically because I know the three of you are very much invested in this financial realm. I think that you guys have absolutely brilliant minds. Devin technically is a day trader. Tanisha does a lot of financial literacy, as well as Celia. She's a phenomenal CPA. So do you guys have anything that you would like to add to this conversation today?
Good morning, Dylan. I think it is a phenomenal service that you have created. I use basically right now, I use Robinhood. So this definitely sounds like next level. And I am very excited to hear more about how this works. Also, I was just not clear as to what you wanted from us. Well, I know we're not supposed to pitch business, but I needed to know whether or not was it subscription, membership, beta testers, whatever. I was just waiting to hear what it was that you needed from us, because I was just all in. I just think it's phenomenal. I can envision how it would work, following stocks and equities and all that kind of great stuff for years. I understand how the market works. And this here is brilliant for those who have no inkling how to enter into the market. And basically I call it a trade it yourself, a TYI or something like that. It's a service that is just so cool. Love the Jets. My memory of Rutgers was a storm when I was in my second year of college, so not good. But anyhow, I am really excited about this, as I think it would create much value to multiple segments of our communities that are so interested in knowing about how the market works, and to be able to have an entry point. You've lowered the barrier in this process by developing this tool. So I'm already linked on LinkedIn. I have my son linking in with you as well, to follow and to hear more about how we can partner and how we can work together. Because that's one thing folks are going to want to know. What do we do with our money post-pandemically? We know we're moving into a new cycle in our world's history, actually. And so to be able to have tools that we can leverage to better manage money and create opportunities financially is going to be key. We're in a new paradigm. We're in a new world that a lot of people haven't quite realized that we're there yet. So I want to commend you on that. I think you have a lot of opportunities to really grow this and to make it, a very useful everyday tool. My thoughts.
Wow. Well, thank you. You just made my whole, well, I'll say day, but realistically it's like year. And boy, am I happy Keegan's recording this. I'll be grabbing that.
Take it.
Celia, to your point, first of all, thank you endlessly.
You're welcome.
I just want to touch on two things. And Keegan, you'll tell me when to shut up and we'll move along. But you mentioned something, right? We have certain target audiences that we think are going to want this more than anybody, right? And it's really about servicing those who haven't been serviced. I know I said that already, but again, I was a 25-year-old, I'm going to be very realistic for a second. I hope everybody's okay with that. I was a 25-year-old white male with a little bit of money, and I couldn't find somebody to help me. So I said, if I'm not getting the help, who is, right? So basically what we wanted to do here is A, the young professional, B, people, I work heavily in the cannabis industry. Those people aren't getting any help. They're going to have tough luck finding a financial advisor, or whoever it might be who's not getting the love. We want to do that. So if it's the 18-year-old kid who's got a job at Dunkin' Donuts who wants a Corvette and then got their first $2,000, by the way, that's all that you have to put in is the $2K. And the only reason we say that is to avoid the trade stations trade fees that, at that point, you don't have to worry about anything and it's all yours. So, we just, it's all about the access. So I really appreciate you seeing that. And we'll be connecting for sure.
Beautiful points. Beautiful points.
Yeah, so Dylan, same thing. I want to say this is amazing. I think what gets me the most is that you're actually doing this for the people. As Keegan said, I do focus a lot on financial literacy for people for the same exact reasons that you say. You're a young 25-year-old man who had nowhere to go and had no idea what to do with money. And so I feel like financial literacy is key. And the fact that you're creating something that gives access to those who aren't served, right? So I would love to connect with you because those are exactly the people who I serve, the ones who don't get served. And allowing people to know the rules of the game gives them that edge that most of us don't get, especially when we're growing up. We tend to find that out the hard way. So the fact that you're creating this funnel, right, for people to be able to access and say, hey, you may not have to necessarily learn it, but here's access. So that way you have a shot. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's about. And so I would love to connect with you because, I use financial literacy and, I do help people, by nature of what I do. That's, I'm licensed, that's what I do. But I always start with financial literacy because I want people to feel empowered. And so what I love about what you're doing is it makes people feel empowered.
Yeah. And Tanisha, thank you so much. And, you said something that almost like, I don't know if this is going to sound silly, but it's like, I just thought of it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take your money off the bench. It's like you're sitting on the end of the bench. You're not getting in the game. You have a uniform. Cool. You got a number on your back. You're not getting in the game and you're not getting any stats and nobody cares. We're trying to just get you in the game. Let's give you reps. Let's just get your shots up, and that's really all we're trying to do. It's better than sitting in the savings account,
Exactly.
So it's just about access and people can determine, hey, I want to set it and forget it, like Matt was saying, and like I will always do, right? Maybe there's a day I want to learn more. I don't think it's coming. But if you wanted to go all the way up the ladder to, hey, teach me how to code this bot myself, we'll do it. Like, it's like, and anything in between. So, we'll see where it goes. But again, thanks so much, guys. You're almost making me emotional, but I'll keep it together.
Great points, great questions. Dev, I know you are limited to access right now. Can you hop on and say anything as a trader? Because I know that, actually Devin just texted me 2 days ago and said that he was sitting on a stock and quadrupled his profit just in a couple minutes. So can you hop on at all, Dev? Maybe not. He's like, man, you put me on the spot. I don't really want to say anything. That's all right. That's all right. So is there anybody else that has any experiences, tips, tricks, things that have worked for them historically? Any advice that you would share with somebody, anything, again, related to money that you think might be advantageous that you would like to share with the group?
I just wanted to say I gotta hop off here in a moment. It's a pleasure, getting to hang out and speak with everybody here. Thank you, Dylan, for your time today. It was actually you hit something on the nail for myself. I am in the cannabis community. Been in the work for Cureleaf, so I'm sure you can respect the size of that.
We got to talk.
Yeah. So, you know where I'm at. We don't get much love. There's no 401ks for us. We're still in a Schedule I community. So unfortunately, I'm just getting started in the stocks myself and transitioning my investments from more real estate into the stock market. I've always, bought the second house, side lot, investing in properties here and there, but looking to transition to this. So like you said, looking to connect on a different platform so we can go deeper.
That's incredible. Chad, really appreciate it. And I know you got to run, but let's definitely connect. I work with a couple of your vendors, Cureleaf's vendors, and I'm sure we can continue to connect some dots there. So that'll be cool. I accepted your LinkedIn request. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Chad.
Bye.
I have one more question. Is this, and you don't have to answer this, is this a privately owned? Are you going to be seeking investors doing an IPO of any sort in the future? What?
So great question. Right now, I would be silly to try and answer it.
Okay, we'll let your partner.
No, not even that. It's more about the market, right? Because there's a couple routes that this really can go, and we're not sure if we can do two things at once. What I mean by that is we have a consumer product. We want to get everybody in the game, right? I've said that a million times. However, based off of what happened, like 5-6 months ago, The Big Short, right, with Robin Hood and the AMC and GameStop, that madness, right? That was quite frankly, that was the best thing that could have ever happened for Peakbot, right? Because, there are some people who wanted to run away from the financial advisor. I'm just generally speaking here, right? They were just like, well, if they're going to totally just shut down the market here, well, what do I mean to them, right? And, completely halted things. So what happened is now these asset management companies that I network with, for my business and a couple other things, I won't give any names, but some of the big dogs who I talk to are not saying, hey, Dylan, go home. Like, stop bothering us with this automated crap. Like, we don't need people having this. They're saying, hey, send us your pitch deck because we're looking to invest in tech ourselves. Like, you don't think, I don't know, Morgan Stanley, I don't know, hopefully I'm just saying names here, but like, you don't think they're going to let them run away, let their customer run away just because the financial advisor shot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
They're going to go buy the tech that they're running to, which is me.
Yeah,
so
I got you.
I've had these conversations and I'm just like, well, I've learned
show up with the deal. Show up with the deal.
I've learned one thing, and it's don't piss off the big bucks. Don't piss off the big bucks.
Got you.
If
Love
the big
it.
bucks say, let's tango, I'm saying, well, how
Let's
do we
dance.
do both? Yeah.
Love it. Great.
Can't piss
Great.
them off. Yeah.
I hope one mastermind, you'll come back and you'll tell us that the deal is done, and we want to hear that story.
All right. Early 2022. We'll see.
Love
Thanks,
that.
Celia.
Awesome points. And again, guys, in case you haven't already, I'm going to ask Dylan to share his link and some other information in our Slack today. So if you are not on the Slack or the Facebook group, definitely hop on there. There will be a lot of sharing of information, opportunities that present themselves, etc. But just to take this on a little bit of a different segment before we close out is that, look, guys, everybody's at a different place financially. Some of us on here have 401ks, some of us don't. That's okay. There are many ways that you can make investments. Some of you might have exposure to the insurance industry. So just to break that down briefly, you have things like term, whole life, all these other different opportunities to invest in the insurance. And sometimes it makes a lot of sense depending on where you are. But there is also stocks, bonds, IRAs, CDs. There are tons of options and outlets out there. So it really depends on where you are. I really love that Dylan was able to bring this literacy in terms of, being able to be that hands-free investing. And that gives a whole different opportunity. And again, as he mentioned, they're still defining this, but if you talk about $5, $10, $20 per month, that's a very small fee if you're getting that return on investment. So it doesn't matter where you are. One of the greatest things to be able to do is to have your money work for you. It's really interesting because historically, if we look over the past few years or decades even, real estate has been a hot move for people. But as we've seen with the demand changing, for example, I'm calling from Virginia today. And one of the things that we saw happen once COVID hit was you had all these people that were in Richmond in the city. And once COVID hit, they wanted to move out. So you had areas like where I am in Goochland, which is pretty much a desolate city, and I could drive down the road and find 50 houses that were up for sale. And then COVID hit, and within a week, all 50 of them were sold. So there's a buyer's market, there's a seller's market. It's always changing. It's cyclical, it rotates. But the thing is that, look, sometimes you're going to be in a position where you have some additional cash and you want to make that work for you. Find a way that's best for you, that best suits yourself, your family's needs, depending on where you are at that point in time. I have a background in financial advising. So if you ever have questions and want to go to a little bit of a deeper level, I would love to be a resource for you. But I really appreciate all the feedback, thoughts, comments that you guys have been able to share today. Is there anybody else that would like to share anything else? So again, tips, tricks, experiences, market trends. Joe? All right, Joe, go ahead.
It won't be any of those things. It won't be tips, tricks, experiences, or market trends. But what I will say is that there's also this one of the limiting factors for people with money is their mindset, right? So you can only have as much money as your brain tells you that you have the capacity to have. So part of being part of this mastermind and part of working with Keegan is really dealing with what are your limiting beliefs around money? What stops you? What shuts you down? And because Keegan has got this background in financial advice, he's a great person to have a conversation with to help you break through those limiting beliefs. Because you're always going to be stuck at whatever you think it is that you're like. If you know, I said to somebody, "Wow, you could make $100,000 doing this," and they say, 100,000, I can't even imagine that. I know they're stuck, right? But if I say you can make $100,000 doing this, and they go 100, how about 1,000,000? I'm like, yeah, okay, good. Now let's look at what it's going to take to get to that 1,000,000, right? And so it's all that. So when you look for yourselves, what do you see in terms of your own beliefs? That's, yeah, I'll throw it out there if somebody wants to answer that.
I love that. I haven't heard somebody spin it like that before, which seems, as soon as you said it, I'm like, why has nobody, kind of said this to me? It's totally true. I think that so many people, kind of like myself too, I'm just like, well, how much, if you don't know anything about the market, if you don't know anything about money or finance or budgeting or you don't know really how much you're capable of, and also how much you need to save and spend. Like Keegan said, I just bought a house in Jersey in a seller's market. I got to be careful right now. So, it's like, I don't know, I'm rambling at this point, but that was really refreshing to hear. That's a good mindset to have.
Good.
I'll chime in.
Go ahead, Joe.
So for me, it's always been about, with loving what you do, being an expert at what you do, because money just comes with it. If you make yourself irreplaceable in whatever it is that you do, right? And if you find the trade, and if you really love what you do, money just starts pouring in at some point. It's it may not be a flood of money, but you will have, the money will validate what you do. But chasing the money, you can, if that is what your trade is. But for me, and as far as when you have good amount of money pile up, that's when you want to get professional help. It's
100%.
Again, you're recruiting an expert in that field to help you with that. So I'm not going to offer advice on any of that stuff. I'm not qualified for any of that stuff. But generally, for me, in my experience, it's always been just do what you love, and then the money will compensate that. It just the two go together, But it's always hard.
Yeah,
work,
I think
it's
100% spot on, right? You do what you love, the money will follow. And you have to keep expanding your own capacity to have. And even if you haven't made a ton of money, get professional help. You should get a financial advisor no matter what, and work with somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you appreciate. You should get with Keegan, because he'll kind of point you in the right direction, right? But that's really it. You want to work with somebody that's gonna guide you even when you're not making a ton of money, because that's what starts to change your mindset. If you think, well, I don't need a financial advisor, well, that's that's a small mindset. But if you think I need a financial advisor because I'm gonna make a lot of money, so now that whole mindset starts to open up and create this space over there. And we're only ever limited in what we do in life, but what we believe we can do, right? It's like the first guy that broke the 5-minute mile, right?
Bannister.
When that happened,
Everybody else did.
yeah, everybody before that thought that the common belief was that if you ran a 5-minute mile, your heart would explode in your chest and you would die. So you think anybody wanted to try that? No. And then that guy broke the 5-minute mile, and then 14 other people did it like the next 3 weeks. It was like pop, 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 right, happened right away because there was this mindset. And that's how mindsets work. Right. So when you have something that's limiting you, as soon as you break through it, then your friends will start having breakthroughs. And then all of a sudden, the people that you influence and your clients and everybody else starts having breakthroughs. So you want to be the leader in that.
Hey, Joe, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I want to talk to you and Keegan and maybe anybody else you guys would suggest on the mindset, right? Because like you heard me not shut up for the last 30 minutes, it's impossible not, when I'm explaining the business, not to sound like we're against the financial advisor when we're not. Like we almost want to say like, hey, let us be your breeding program. Let us hand you people who are a little bit more educated than they were, and you don't have to work on that now, or at least have them calling you at midnight saying, what the hell is going on? My money just ran away from me, right? So mindset's huge because again, like I said, we don't want to be pissing off the big dogs and their financial advisors. I want to have a conversation with you guys and say, hey, how do we delicately walk that line and say, we're not here to be against anybody. We're here to like be whatever you need us to be, but let's give some people some access and get them involved. So maybe we have a separate conversation about that because so much of that.
I think Keegan's probably the right person to have that conversation because he's got that financial advisor background. So he can.
You just sounded so wise right there. I had to just figured I'd loop you in. I appreciate it.
But I'm happy to also. I'm happy to have that conversation also.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Good.
Great insight. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's all about that mindset and the limiting beliefs and, choosing one lane over the other. I also like what Joe Lepler said in terms of that purpose-driven approach, because, look, I'm a firm believer that we are all here for a purpose. And based on our past experiences, our learning, our skill set, that dictates our purpose. And ultimately, our purpose is to serve other people. So when you can find a way to utilize your skills to serve others, then the money is just going to come in. But you can't make it about yourself, because oftentimes people get in that limiting belief of, woe was me, this happened to me. Whereas if you flip that script and look at it as that opportunity, now it fuels you forward instead of holding you back. So again, that purpose-driven approach to be able to impact other people's lives. We all have skills, we all have stories, we all have abilities. Somebody needs you. And one of the quotes that I love about this is, look, you are the aspirin to somebody's headache. How long are you going to let them suffer? And I find that to be true with that purpose approach. So look, guys, it's 10:59, so we do have to close out. Any last minute comments before we jump off? All right. Well, look, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your presence. I greatly appreciate all of you being here today. It means a tremendous amount to me. You guys are all loved, as Joe says. Remember that you are loved. Thank you. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or need to connect outside here, definitely check out the Slack and the Facebook group. I hope you guys have an incredible day. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a great week.
Bye, everybody.